Hey, what's going on, guys? Ron Turkey here. Welcome back to the channel. I was playing in the Courtesan Cup last weekend in Baltimore. Came back, was kind of catching up with work and all that, but I really wanted to get a video out for you guys showcasing the deck I brought because I'm really proud of it and it did really well. I got 7th place in total, in like totality of the cup. This deck finished in 9th on day 1, Swiss constructed with a 5-2 record. Day 2 was like a draft kind of day, and I wasn't actually playing this deck, but I did well enough in that draft that I finalized in 7th. So had a pretty good showing at the tournament overall. This deck helped me a lot, and I'm really proud of it. It's one of my favorite archetypes, spirits, and I've done like 2 spirit videos on this channel before, but this one's using sorcerer, so we're going to go into it. It should be quick. Sorcerer, if you don't know, tap, player draw a sight, tap, draw a spell. So he's a draw engine, and it's really powerful. It's a very generic ability, but it's strong. You don't need to put draw spells in your deck. Sorcerer is going to have you covered. As a result, you're probably going to be playing fewer sights as some other avatars because you're not going to want to tap to draw or tap to play all those sights. You're going to want to tap to draw your spells. We're capping out around 6 mana because we have Ghost Ship and Nimbus Djinn. And these are the deck's main win conditions, in particular Nimbus Djinn, where you're going to play an Evil Presence over the opponent's head, and then you're going to Nimbus Djinn them. You're going to give the Nimbus Djinn charge with the Presence, swing in for 4. Evil Presence goes back to your hand, then you dump your hand, and like you just like lightning bolt them a million times until they're on death's door. And then it should be like you can like figure out the finisher from there. We're also running Ghost Ship. He's kind of a slower like win condition in quotes there. When he enters a site from the void, you summon a spirit from any cemetery to its location. So he's like a value engine, and he's also a big body though. He's 5 power. But all the things that you're discarding with Nimbus Djinn or that are just dying throughout the game, you can bring them back with the Ghost Ship. We also have one of Ultimate Horror, who is nice. I like him because he kind of ties in spirits and void walkers. As you can see, he's a spirit and he also has a void walk. We have a couple of void walkers here who are not spirits, and we have like a couple spirits who are not void walkers. So I kind of like them, or I like the horror because he ties in the theme of like the void walk minions with the spirits. And it's kind of nice. Sometimes you will discard him to the Nimbus Djinn and then bring him back with the Ghost Ship. Other times you'll discard the rest of your hand except the Ultimate Horror with the Nimbus Djinn, and then you'll just cast the Ultimate Horror with the 1 mix air that we have. And we have a Highland Princess that can search the mix. If you're playing the Highland Princess early, I will usually just grab a stone, but like if I see the horror in my hand and I'm gonna play the princess after, I might grab that mix if it looks like a game where I'm gonna actually be casting the Ultimate Horror. Regardless, one of the other cool things in this deck is Ghost Ship with the Phantom Steed, because if you're able to play the Phantom Steed on an earlier turn before you play Ghost Ship, you'll be able to play Ghost Ship on top of the Phantom Steed and then pick it up with the Steed, and you will sort of give it haste or charge because the Phantom Steed can get moving. It's not summoning sick, even though the Ghost Ship is. And then with the movement +2, you can move onto a site and then back into the void. And you can like recur a spirit and keep the Ghost Ship in the void, safe from any kind of removal, but also just be able to do it every turn. Because ordinarily with Ghost Ship, you'd have to move onto a site, pass to your opponent, move back into the void. It's going to be like you're going to do it every 2 turns. Phantom Seed's going to speed you up and let you do it every turn, and also just keeps your Ghost Ship safer. So it's a really cool include in the deck, and I love being able to just go in and out every turn. The rest of the deck is kind of there to help us survive to get to these bigger minions. We're running 2 Angel's Eggs for the healing, 2 Adept Illusionists for kind of like the stall power. I'm mostly using these guys as chump blockers. Tap, search your hand, cemetery, spellbook for another Adept Illusionist, summon it nearby. So one will die, and then the other one will tap, so it brings it back. You kind of get infinite chumps. Your opponent has to kill both of them at the same time. So usually, like, if you position them correctly, one is going to be in position to chump block for you, while the other's going to be a bit safer. And hopefully, like, at the very least, you're going to force some hard removal out of them, like a Berry or a Disintegrate. Hopefully, you're not putting him in a position where, like, it's going to get Firebolts or something. Yeah, if you're going to lose both of them, you at least want to get, like, a good removal spell out of them. Grim Reaper is there. He can trade with any minion, and it's awesome for that reason. But he's also a spirit, so he works with Evil Presence. You can charge him in and get that value right away. He's also great synergy with Grapple Shot. We are running 3 Grapple Shots. It's kind of our primary removal. This deck will struggle with 5 power minions because we have a lot of 4 power minions. We got 4 power Haunt, 4 power Shade, 4 power Hounds, 4 power Nimbus Djinn. Only Ghost Ship is 5, and it's like a 6-drop, so a lot of, like, you're not going to... There's a lot of 4 mana, 5 power minions that are very popular right now, so, like, playing the Ghost Ship 2 turns later is, like, you're looking at 10 damage if you're not blocking. So, a lot of times, it's like you're kind of relying on these 4 power minions, and with Grapple Shot, you might need to, like, grapple and then attack and, like, give the trade. And it kind of feels bad. But a lot of these are spirits or like Voidwalkers that can like maybe be recurred with the horror. So, you know, you'll make up for it, I suppose. You're really just trying to survive to get to these 5 cards. The 2 Ghost Ships, the 2 Nimbus Djinns, and the 1 Ultimate Horror. 2 Blinks for a bit of mobility. I run 2 Disenchants in decks that can't use Common Sense. Because there's a lot of matchups where, dude, if you just have Disenchant at the right time, you win the game. So I run 2. Another thing about Nimbus Djinn is he kind of adds some modality to the deck where, like, he turns every spell in your hand into a lightning bolt. So I also don't care if I draw a Disenchant where it's going to be a dead card in my hand, because with a Nimbus Djinn, it just becomes a lightning bolt. Speaking of, we have 2 lightning bolts because it can kill early things, save us some life. It's a good finisher, even though, like, Nimbus Djinn is kind of going to do that for us. And we're not running more because Nimbus Djinn turns everything else into lightning bolts. 1 Browse to help us dig for the cards that we're looking for. And then the Atlas, not much to say here. We're just doing like some water air stuff. I mean, we've got Mirror Realm and Imperial Road as our... Mirror Realm is going to be a colored site when it like enters. Imperial Road is very popular with Sorcerer because, you know, you get to play 2 sites for the price of 1. Get to drawing your spells quicker. I will say I tend to mulligan my roads because I really want to secure my attunement quickly. So I will tuck my Imperial Roads whenever I see them. If I draw them again, that's fine. But I really just want to make sure that, like, I want to see lighthouses, I want to see floodplains, and, like, I want to see... Like, I want to make sure I have 2 air and 2 water in a deck that I'm probably not going to be playing more than 6 sites. Maybe even 4 or 5 if I see my mana rocks early. So, it's kind of important. Yeah, again, I will mulligan Imperial Roads. That might be unpopular opinion. I don't know. Ruler of Thule is there. It's kind of like an alternate win condition. He has good synergy with the Illusionist because they provide you with 2 bodies. And also the Voidwalkers because they can just kind of end up... on your opponent's back row, especially the Haunts. That can just be random. But he has Charge too, which is just amazing. And, like, yeah, he just makes the rest of your units bigger, and you can attack from different angles that your opponent wouldn't have seen coming. So sometimes you just see him early, and you're like, oh, wow, I can do, like, big things with that. And you don't even, like, need your, like, Nimbus Djinn or whatever. This is a deck. I'm going to get some games for us and show you how it goes, and I hope you guys like what you see. If you like the channel, if you're new to the channel and you want to see more videos like this, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment kind of maybe like what you want to see or like things that you would do differently, whatever that may be. Thanks guys, I hope you have a good day, and I hope we have some good games. Alright, so we are starting off game 1 against a Death Speaker player. We're doing our mulligans. We're going to keep Grim Reaper because it's excellent against Death Speaker. I saw we mulliganed Ultimate Horror. It's kind of too late, too intensive of a mana to keep in our opening hand. I didn't see the other card we mulliganed, but I'm going to assume it was bad. Drawing Angel's Egg, Grapple Shot. We accidentally draw 4 sights, so we're just going to put that 4th sight back on top. No harm, no foul. Cloud City is probably the best sight to play on turn 1. That and then maybe Color Out of Space second. But Cloud City is excellent. Once you get 3 air, you can get moving around, can stay out of range of projectiles and whatnot. Maybe find yourself in a tricky spot where direct damage gets hard to be dealt. Opponent has their Color Out of Space. We draw Mix Air for turn. We're going to get this Floodplain going. No reason to play the tower because we don't have like a 3 mana play. Play the Mix Air on ourselves. And next turn probably play this Angel's Egg and just start kind of staying healthy. Most Death Speaker decks are kind of like ours where they're not going to do like a whole lot to you in the early game. So this is a good matchup for us. We kind of get to just build up our mana, build up our hand, and then our late game, it's going to be a test of the late game, see whose is better. They play a Highland Princess. They search up a rock. I didn't see what they got, actually. I think it was probably a stone would be my guess. But then we draw an Observatory, we play it, we see Adept, Illusionist, Steed, and Grapple Shot. We already have a Grapple Shot, so I'm not too interested in that. But the Illusionist is fantastic. We're going to put that on top, and then the Steed right below. And then we'll probably draw... We should play this Angel's Egg here. We'll probably draw the Illusionist next turn, and then maybe draw the Steed. And then we'll tap the Illusionist to shuffle away the Grapple Shot. It looks like we don't play the egg. I'm not really sure why we do that. We kind of just leave 3 mana up, but I mean there's no immediate threat on us, so I guess we're fine. It's not like it would have done anything last turn, but I don't know. It is weird. Sometimes it's good kind of just keeping not all of your artifacts on one location for like a disenchant, dispel type of deal. But you can't really play around that. Opponent is doing Highland Falconer. They are searching up bats. They Rift Valleyed us, so the Observatory now is like over there. Our lands are split up. We're going to untap. We're going to draw a spell, get those Illusionists. And now we got to think about where we're going to place them, because those bats can attack them from anywhere. But when we play this tower, we're going to have 3 air, and we'll be able to move Cloud City. Alright, so we're going to play that tower, move it, and then a slight, not quite an error here, but we have to flood the Cloud City first with Floodplain, because right now we only have 1 water. So it's like I kind of move back there, and I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm going to flood Cloud City. And then we play the Illusionist. And we also play out that egg because we will be taking damage next turn, so we can start healing it. And we make good use of the 5 mana we got from that tower, actually. So it all checks out. Now opponent untaps, they're drawing spells. They still have 1 sight in hand. We're looking at 4 damage from their minions. And we still got this Grim Reaper with the Grapple Shot too. So any minion will be able to kill and banish all copies from. And there we see Land Surveyor. And I love hitting Land Surveyor from Death Speaker decks, because there's usually 4 of them, maybe 3. And Death Speaker tends to like want to get into big mana. Usually like this is a Nimbus Djinn deck where they're going to play Summoning Sphere and Nimbus Djinn. So keeping them off of 6 to 7 mana is very key. And of course, like by removing the Land Surveyors from their decks, they're going to have to choose to draw sites or tap the Death Speaker, and they'll just be getting that mana a lot slower. So they do play a Quagmire, then they play the Land Surveyor, and they draw a site. We need a site in order to do Grim Grapple next turn. So that's what we're going to do. We will probably tap the Illusionist. We should tap the Illusionist first because we see a river. So we're going to shuffle. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that steed that I wanted to pick up. But we're going to play a river after, and then we're going to get to at least scry one. So if we play that river first, then we're shuffling. Well, first, we already know what's at the top of our library, so it doesn't even make sense to do that. We see Evil Presence. We love that. This is a Spirits deck. And yeah, we play that river there so that we can summon the Grim Reaper there and grapple shot the Surveyor. We could have moved Cloud City as well, but then I'm kind of putting this Illusionist on me in a more precarious spot. I don't know what kind of Death Speaker deck my opponent is playing right now, so he could be on Imps. And a Violimp on the Quagmire there would kill my Illusionist. And now we see, right, the Grim Reaper, we get to search his deck, and we see that this is a Candlemoss Monks deck. This is the Candlemoss combo with the Crave Golem and the Raise Deads and the Take Infinite Turns. Not really infinite, but like up to 5 turns by killing the monks at the start of your opponent's turn. So we're going to have to be on the lookout for that. And I'll be honest, this is the first time I've ever played this deck, so I don't even know how to manage that. But with that, our hand is empty, and we're going to pass to our opponent. We've got good blocks. We still got this Grim Reaper here. And like, yeah, we're probably just going to draw 2 next turn and see what we get. He decides to double attack the Illusionist, so I get both of them. And then he uses the Death Speaker to summon Highland Falconer. Is going to get to rebuy that Genesis, find another bat. He's going to summon those bats. And then oddly enough, he crashes the bat into my Grim Reaper. So like they both die. Well, they're both banished. And then I kind of, I actually don't even look at what the card is in his hand. So that's a bit of a mistake from me. It's nice of him to keep the rest of his revealed cards out, although they're not technically public information at this point. I think they are like historical information where like they were public at one point. Again, it's courteous that he just keeps them revealed so that I can play more optimally, but he does not have to. We see Ruler of Thule, right? So we've summoned this Illusionist on our bottom row because now we can actually kind of do a swing with that Illusionist for 3 power, and maybe the other one too if our opponent plays on a site parallel. Would you call it opposite Cloud City? Then this other Illusionist could swing back, or we just move the Illusionist on a later turn. For now, we'll just play the Evil Presence. I'm not quite ready to like send out this Ruler. I'd like to see more minions and get a bigger swing. So with the Evil Presence down, the Evil Presence, by the way, is blocking his Pristine Paradise. It only provides mana and attunement whenever it's completely empty, and auras count as like there being something there. So right now he only has 4 mana and his attunements are all -1. He Highland Princesses and he gets a Kythera Mechanism, and so now that I like know what my opponent's doing, I do realize the folly of my actions. I should have Grim Grappled the Highland Princess and not the Land Surveyors, because the Princess got him that mechanism. So we're drawing 2 again. We see Atlantean Fate and we see Blink. Neither of these cards are really going to do a lot for us right now. Although what I am thinking is if I can Atlantean Fate he's set me up perfectly, right? The way his sights are placed. I'm not going to be submerging anything with Atlantean Fate, but I can shut down all of his air attunement. And now he's going to need to get back to 2 air in order to start casting Raise Dead. So I can maybe force him to draw sights instead of spells and assembling his combo. Right, because he has a Rift Valley and a Quagmire over there. Now, it does make it so that this Pristine Paradise is giving him mana again, but it's only giving him water. And then I move the one Illusionist. I should have moved both, but c'est la vie. None of those artifacts over there, again, those are like revealed cards. He's not actually holding the stone or the mechanism. That would be great. I would have loved that, but he is not. He has not cast them yet. They're just in his hand. And he drew a spell for turn. I presume he's gonna tap for a sight, or yeah, tap to play a sight. Okay, so he gets a tower that puts him at one air. And he has 3 spells in hand, 6 mana. Actually, way more than 3. All those spells to the right over there are in his hand. But then he just passes. We draw Nimbus Djinn. We could cast him with the Mix Air. Or at some point we can just draw one more sight. Or maybe we find one of our cores or stone. Regardless, we're untapped. We are like in a position that like we can attack. This hand doesn't look great. Now we might just play out the Ruler of Thule because, like, what else are we doing? We can attack for 4, I guess, if we just, yeah, we move the Cloud City up. We got that Illusionist in. And then we do play the Ruler of Thule. So he's going to come down, swing for 3, and the other Illusionist is going to come down, swing for 3. We end up getting a total of 8 damage this turn. And put him to 10. He should be at 10. He's missing the first Illusionist strike. And like, yeah, okay, so opponent's at 10. We are threatening him with 8 damage. We still have that evil presence under the Atlantean Fate. He gets his own Cloud City. Very nice. So he does end up getting to 2 air fairly easily, which is unfortunate. And then it looks like he's now playing the stone. And then he'll play Grandmaster Wizard on himself to draw 3 spells. Now he's got 2 air. We do see that he has a Browse in hand. He still can't cast the Browse. And that's very nice, because this is a combo deck, and so it's all about putting the right cards together. Yeah, he had 6 mana. He ended up casting the Wizard for 5 because of Stone, and then he can cast the Common Sense for 1. So in total, this is going to be all his mana. He's searching for an Ordinary, possibly an Apprentice Wizard. And he gets a Common Sense, so he's just doing some deck thinning, I guess. And then it goes back to us. We untap. We are going to draw a spell for the turn. See that Ultimate Horror? It's castable with this Mix Air, but the Cemetery is not set up. And then we see Headless Haunt. And that's really good because that's our door. Because we have that Evil Presence underneath him. So we've got 6. Well, the Grandmaster Wizard blocks 3 damage. And this is what we're doing. I'm moving the Illusionist to kill the Wizard. Ruler of Thule attacks for 3. Our other Illusionist attacks for 2. Puts him to 5. And then this Headless Haunt with charge from the Evil Presence will be at 5 power because of the Ruler of Thule buff. So we are able to get him to door. We're at 20 life. We're feeling really good. And we're going to pass to our opponent. We still got this Nimbus Djinn in hand. We got a Mix Air, the Evil Presence, Ultimate Horror backup. And then the opponent plays'. So he does get to 3 air. Again, I tried to shut him off of air with the Atlantean Fate, and then he just drew 3 air sites, like back to back to back. So maybe this is like a, when I see Death Speaker, I tend to imagine it's like 4-color Death Speaker. But I guess, 2 element, like this could just be air earth. I don't think I see any water or fire, so I guess it's not like impossible or even unlikely to just go 3 air sites. So he does the observatory, and he doesn't like what he sees actually in the top 3. So he decides to use a browse to go 7 deep and look for one of his pieces. He does have a lot of mana, and that browse was free from the Philosopher's Stone. He ends up taking a card. He's going to stack them properly. This will take some time here. Spoiler alert, he does end up assembling the combo. So yeah, he does not have to reveal the Crave Golem, but he does anyways. And then he's thinking about how he wants to order his bottom 6, because he will be able to draw through his deck. You'll see how. But he intends to place the Nimbus Djinn on the top of this pile. And then, yeah, what he does is, like, before even, like, putting him at the bottom, he rebuys his Grandmaster Wizard for free because he's on Death's Store as Death Speaker. And then, yeah, then he has a bit of a moment of confusion. There's a Nimbus Djinn, and he wants to put that on the top of this bottom 6. He is trying here. I maybe should have done some trimming of this video. A lot of it is trimmed, actually. I don't know if anyone has noticed that this is a bit of a faster paced video than what my normal videos are, but I did do some trimming. And then, yeah, he has me do it just because, like, I think he, like, isn't that familiar with TTS, but I don't know. I have, like, issues putting stuff at the bottom, too, sometimes. So I just had to, like, pick up the deck and then put him on top. So he just Grandmaster Wizard. He rebought. He browsed. He's still at 8 mana. He does not have a discount on air spells. He's going to play Crave Golem for 4. And then he's going to play the Candlemoss Monks for 3. And then he's got the mana, if he wants it, to play the Kythera Mechanism. I forget if he wants to do that right now. He could also, with 1 mana, could, like, play that Common Sense, I suppose. Okay, and then he plays an Amethyst Core, and then he will play the Mechanism. So that puts him at 9 mana for the next turn. And so how this works is Candlemoss Monks have Deathrite proceed to the end phase. And Crave Golem says at the start of each player's turn, it attacks the closest minion in its range of motion. And if there's nothing in range of it, it moves to the closest minion. So at the start of my turn, Crave Golem goes off and it attacks Candlemoss Monks, killing them. And it goes to the end phase. I get to untap. I don't even get to draw a spell. I get to do nothing on my turn. It just goes to my opponent. And then Crave Golem has to move to the nearest enemy minion, I believe. And because there's like a tie, he kind of just gets to pick the path. So he decides to put it on the river. That's fine. He drew a site for turn. He's gonna play a Bedrock. He should have 10 mana after playing the core. Right now it says 9. And he also, with the Mechanism, controls random events. Alright, so he did update to 10. And now he's going to raise dead, where he would summon a random minion from either cemetery. But with the mechanism, he gets to pick, and he wants the monks. And now they're in a position where the Crave Golem can attack the monks at the start of my next turn again. So he does... Let's see here. I remember he was thinking... So one of the parts I trimmed here, he tries to attack my river with the golems, and then I block with my illusionist. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. And I'm like, okay, you know, I get it. You know, Ruler Thule, he's a tricky guy. So he was trying to think about how to reposition the golem on Rift Valley so that he could attack me without like triggering a block and kill the monks. He ends up not being able to do it, so he's just like, I just want to attack with the Crave Golem. And I'm like, okay. He casts another Grandmaster Wizard from his hand. I believe that would be for 6 mana, because Raise Dead cost him 3. So he should be at... He had 10 mana. Then he sacks the wizard to Moonclan Werewolf. Let me think here. 3 mana on Raise Dead, and then 6, so 9. 9 of 10. I believe he should have 1 mana left. I believe, unless I'm doing my math wrong. Yeah, so he sacks... Oh, we had a party foul. He sacrificed the wizard to Moonclan Werewolf to summon it for free, and then he played Miracle Workers to bring the wizard back to his hand so that he'll be able to play it again next turn. That's actually a really clever tech that I was really impressed to see. Actually, I've never seen someone play Miracle Workers, but like, wow, is that a good use for it. And then, yeah, it goes to my turn. The Crave Golem attacks the monks. I don't get to do anything. It goes to my opponent. And at this point, Crave Golem does have to kill one of his minions. And he chooses the Miracle Workers, which is great for him because he can play them from the cemetery. And it's a Genesis ability that they have. So it's probably going to be a similar thing where he kills his own wizard and then brings it back to his hand. Very, very cool tech. Again, drawing a sight because at this point, like, he has so much draw power with his wizards. Its mana is his biggest constraint. So he's just playing sights every turn he can. We learn later that you should not roll Headless Haunt when this kind of thing happens. They're both start of turn triggers, but the non-active players resolve first. So Headless Haunt ability fizzles, and he would just stay where he is when this combo begins. So opponent with 11 mana, starting off with a Raise Dead, very, very good start. I would have done that. He's gonna play the monks there. I'm not sure if Crave Golem is like a random ability, but it doesn't really matter because he has the mechanism. And then he starts to attack attacks me with the werewolf, attacks me with the Crave Golem. Now I am actually curious, maybe I didn't catch this when we were playing live. I've never faced this combo before. But, like, I'm pretty sure Crave Golem says it attacks... No, I think it... I'm not sure if it says it attacks the nearest minion or just any minion in its range of motion. Because if it says nearest minion, it should attack the werewolf on my turn. And then, yeah. So he passed, right? He summoned the wizard, drew another 3. I'm rolling my Haunt because, like, again, we haven't figured it out yet that Haunt's ability fizzles, but it does. And then we also realize that he has a mechanism and that he gets to just control where it is. So it's over in the corner. And then the Candlemoss Monks dies. The Crave Golem should be on the Rift Valley, but he's going to attack my Observatory, I guess, on his turn anyways. Well, on his turn, it should attack, yes, On his turn, it also triggers, and it's going to attack his wizard. This is a very convoluted deck. I'm trying my best to explain it, but having never played against it and never played it, I'm really going off memory here and trying to make it make sense. Draws a sight for turn. Again, he wants the mana. He's going to play that sight for turn. It's a bedrock. See, dude, where were these bedrocks before this happened? Imagine if that Cloud City and that observatory were those bedrocks. This game would be done. Unfortunately, they are Cloud City and observatory. This whole time, too, I'm chilling. Like, he's on door. I've got this Nimbus Djinn in hand, this Evil Presence. It's like, oh, man. I'm so close. And, yeah, so he raised Deads again. He summons the monks on Crave Golem. Plays another core. I have been gaining life with the Angel's Eggs. I haven't said anything about that. I guess it does matter, I suppose. And then he's going to play a wizard. And that's who the Crave Golem will kill on his turn. He will... Yeah, so the Crave Golem attacked his wizard this turn. And now he rebuys the Miracle Workers to return the Grandmaster Wizard to his hand. So really like amazing use of the Miracle Workers in this deck and from the opponent. That was like the part of this combo that I was most impressed by, was just like, wow, this guy is working miracles. And he's got 2 mana. He's going to sack the wizard on the Geistwood with Moonclan Werewolf. So he's going to draw another 3. And I guess at this point, I'm really just hoping for a deck out. He's at 2 cards. And we know what they are from the browse. It's 2 Divine Healings, and he's on door. So, like, he set it up perfectly. Plays a Falconer. There's nothing in his... we banished the bats, but he just sacks it for another Werewolf. He can attack with the Werewolf on Observatory and attack with the Crave Golem for 6. I remember... Yeah, so then I go to 12 at the end of my turn. Yeah, so now he attacks the monks. At the end of my turn, I go to 12, and now it's his turn. And he attacked the Apprentice Wizard on his turn, so he could cast that if he wants to, but I mean, we know that the cards in his spellbook are dead. So now he's got 4 3-power minions on the board. So I mean, it's looking like door. I do believe he's used 3 raised deads, but he should have the second Candlemoss monks in his hand. And this is the one thing I could have avoided going to door here if I blocked with the illusionists that are above me. I could have done that. I've kind of been like so passive through all of this that I kind of forgot I could do anything. That said, he also just could have attacked my river instead. But obviously he's valuing like having units on top of me. So it wouldn't like have really made a difference. But it's worth noting. You can defend like while all this is happening. That's like the only thing you can do. And again, it's why at the start he was trying to reposition his Crave Golem. Because oh, dude, no. If he attacked my river, dude, my other Adept Illusion. Oh my god, dude. I threw this game by not defending. I threw this game. And then he lightning bolts for game after putting me to door. And he controls the random outcome through the mechanism. So GG. Alright, so we're going into the second game here. We're running it back against the same opponent. We're going to mulligan that Evil Presence, that Hounds, keeping that Illusionist. We're going to mull the Imperial Road, considering this Watchtower, and then I'm like, nah, there's no stealth units in this deck. Any other site is better if there's no stealth units in the game. Happy to see the Illusionists. We know that we're going to want to be more aggressive this time. We want to put them to door and finish the game before they can assemble their combo. It seems very consistent with all the draw power that this deck has. Off the mulligan, we see Headless Haunt, and we see Atlantean Fate. We also see Lone Tower and Tadpole Pool. So I'm pretty happy because I see 2 air attunement and I see 2 water attunement with these 3 sites. That's wonderful. One thing about Tadpole Pool is that you want 3 water to get the frog tokens. So probably going to draw a site here and hope that we can see a water site. And we do. We see the lighthouse, and that's wonderful because now we can play the illusionist on curve. And oh, but we actually switch it up. We say, nah, man, we're going aggro on you. We're playing the Headless Haunt. We're using that extra mana from the tower to play a Headless Haunt on 2. Notably, Headless Haunt is not fantastic in the early game because his dice rolls, the more sites your opponent has, the more likely you are to get a relevant roll. So kind of a whatever type of play. The lighthouse would have been perfectly fine into going for the illusionist. I think I'm also kind of just saying that like I want to be able to protect my illusionist, and so having to play him on a site where he's potentially vulnerable to things is not what I want. I'm probably going to play him on this lighthouse here where he's out of the way of projectiles. But again, at this point, I've also seen this deck, so shouldn't have really shouldn't have delayed that. Especially now that we see the evil presence off the top, it's like, dang, I could have played this the turn after the illusionists, and then I could have charged swung with the haunt on turn 4, which would have been good. He's going to go for a Quagmire, and then Apprentice Wizard. We're going to roll this Haunt. Quagmire makes all the units immobile. Very sadly, that Headless Haunt. It's actually really, like, I would not have been able to attack any site this turn because all of his sites are near the Quagmire. That Haunt is immobile. All the units near Quagmire right now are immobile. We're going to play the Tadpole Pool, and it's great now that we have 3 water because we're going to be able to summon these froggies. They can maybe do something with Ruler of Thule if they see them, or they can just be kind of good blockers for me. As we did see in his combo that he really made use of all of his turns, and it wasn't like a Nimbus Djinn like one shot. It was like I have a lot of 3 power minions, and I'm going to hit you periodically every turn. So we get the second Illusionist. We still have mana. We haven't actually cast anything, so I'll play this Evil Presence, hoping for another Headless Haunt or, you know, a Mix Air and one more site gets us to Ultimate Horror. We don't have a Cemetery set up for that, though. Ultimate Horror, kind of a sad draw in this matchup where this is not the type of matchup where we are getting to 8 mana. He plays Land Surveyors, draws a site. It's very good for him. He should have only 1 mana, but then when he plays a site, he will go to 2. He is deep in contemplation this turn. Alright, so he's about to double Surveyor, but he's got to play the site first. So he's going to copy color out of space. I am going wild with the camera. And he's going to pass to us. We're going to untap. We roll a 20 on the Headless Haunt. Very sad. I mean, we have attacks with our Illusionist. We still get to draw this turn. Right now, nothing in our hand is castable. We decided to go double spell this turn. See what we can get. We have, like, a lot of the deck is less than 4 mana. And we see double Phantom Steed, which is, like, pretty good. Now if we see a ghost ship, we can kind of do. This doesn't seem like a ghost ship kind of game though. This is a Nimbus Djinn game. This is like we gotta door the opponent very quickly. I attack with the Illusionist. He's deciding what he wants to block with, because obviously whatever dies he's gonna get to rebuy. So he decides he wants the land surveyors. And I don't blame him, because 2 mana for a site is a very good rate, especially in the early game where drawing sites matters. So I'm just going to play out the steed after doing that. My opponent is very nice and reminds me about my froggies. It is definitely wise to move them up and get them into positions where they can block. His opponent is drawing a spell. Of course, he has a site in hand. He has a surveyor in the cemetery. He is deciding where to play this bedrock. He will play it next to the quagmire. And then he shows us a common sense. He is going to cast the land surveyor from his cemetery. So he draws a site and banishes it. And then he has 3 mana, so he'll use that for the common sense. And possibly grab a wizard. Maybe grab the miracle workers that he had as a 1-of. I assume it was a 1-of. He grabs an apprentice wizard. And that should be his turn. He only has 1 mana left. I suppose he could like play cores or whatnot. Alright, and then it goes to us. We get to roll this haunt. And he rolls to 4, which is a very nice location. We're going to keep up like the draw spells. And we see Nimbus Djinn. That's awesome. And we see Grapple Shot. And that's really good, because Headless Haunt's in a good spot to Grapple Shot him. We got to figure out how to do the most damage we can right now. Right now that Land Surveyor could block Headless Haunt. Well, now Headless Haunt can attack Quagmire, but I want to Grapple Shot with Headless Haunt. So we're going to do the attacks here with the Illusionist, kill his Wizard with 1, hit for 2 with 1, and then Phantom Steed will move in and kill the Land Surveyor. This is not a Ghost Ship game, so we're not going to play that plan with the Steed. We're going to remove the blocker for the Headless Haunt to do the most damage, and then we're going to Grapple Shot to deal another 4 to him and put him at 8. And now we're going to just move our froggies over. And we will pass to the opponent. He thought maybe I didn't do anything with Sorcerer, but no, I assured him that like I did draw 2. And now next turn, like we're seeing this Nimbus Djinn. We have 8 damage. Like, well, we don't really know where the Headless Haunt's gonna end up, I guess, but we could potentially have 8 damage next turn, so we might not even need the Nimbus Djinn. It's going to depend what opponent does here. First, he's going to cast a Land Surveyor from the cemetery, draw a site. He's got 2 sites in hand now. It puts him at 3 mana. We still have this Evil Presence as well, so Nimbus Djinn would come down with that. Opponent is in a pickle. He opts to Rift Valley to sort of part the ways here. That Mirror Realm, by the way, is a color out of space. And then he plays an Apprentice Wizard on the Quagmire in front of him. And that should be like all of his mana. Does he have the mana for that? For a common sense? He spent 2 for the Land Surveyor this turn. And then he casts a Wizard. I don't believe he has a stone, and he's not on door. So I believe he's at 6 mana. I don't think he should have been able to common sense there, but c'est la vie. We roll in the Haunt. He rolls a 3. That's fantastic. We have door. on board. I do draw a sight because now we're saying like, hey, we can get to 6 mana for the Djinn. We also have Atlantean Fate this turn, and I play that Observatory across from the Bedrock because if I can door him this turn, I need to make sure that he can't combo off on his next turn. So this Atlantean Fate is actually going to come up pretty big. I'm going to move a frog over, kind of set these guys up as blockers on my front line, and I'm going to figure out door. Presumably kill the wizard with a illusionist, attack with the other illusionist in place, and then just Headless Haunt and Phantom Steed. Like, illusionist steed is 4 and haunt is 4, so that's 8. And so we have door on board. Now, what I plan to do is use this Atlantean Fate in that top left corner next to the Mirror Realm. Remember, Mirror Realm is a color out of space. Right now he has 2 air from his 2 colors out of space. The reason I played that Observatory across from the Bedrock is so that he can't play a sight off of that Bedrock. If I Atlantean Fate that top left corner, he has 2 options to play sights. Either inside the Atlantean Fate or adjacent to his color out of space, which will shut off the color out of space. And it'll make it very difficult. Right now he has 1 air from the first color, but it will be very difficult for him to get 2. He essentially will need to have a basic tower to play into the Atlantean Fate. And so here he goes. He draws a sight for turn, hoping to get it. But I'm feeling very confident about this because all of his sight placements will stop him from... He cannot have, unless he has a basic tower, he cannot have 2 air. And so you see him here with a windmill. I suppose an amethyst core would also give him 2 air, though. Yeah, he plays a windmill that does not give him air. But then he plays the Crave Golem and the monks. The monks are only 1 air, so he will be able to do it this turn. It's a matter of having the air to cast Raise Dead. Raise Dead is 2 air. And on door, you know, he can cast these wizards for free now from his cemetery. So he does that. And then, yeah, I untap, and the Crave Golem does its thing. It kills the monks. Again, I'm rolling the Haunt because he does not have a mechanism this time. So, again, the ability should fizzle, and we do figure that out, but not yet. It goes to his turn. Crave Golem takes a step to the nearest minion. He's 7 mana, still 1 air, so he could have like a second Candlemoss Monks. But he cannot cast Raise the Dead. He cannot cast Browse. He's gonna banish an Apprentice Wizard. And he is tapping, and he had the tower all along. He let me think that my plan was good, and then he shows the Amethyst Core, so I never had a chance, right? Like, he had the tower in hand, he had the Amethyst Core in hand. It was never happening. I felt so smart when like I placed that Observatory by the Bedrock and like saw that he couldn't play next to his color out of space, and I was like, oh dude, I'm totally gonna get this guy good. But no, he always had the tower. And so now he's doing his thing. He's common sensing. He's looking for a wizard probably. Yup. And now it's kind of like I just gotta wait for the combo to break, I guess. We'll see if he has Raised Dead, how many Raised Deads he can gather to bring back this monk. Right now, he doesn't have the mechanism, but there's also no minions in the cemetery. He's been banishing all of them as Death Speaker throughout the game. So even without the mechanism, the Raise Dead is a sure thing. So now, what's happening here? I think he's choosing a move where he casts the Apprentice Wizard. I think it has something to do with Crave Golem and his moving minion, like moving towards the nearest minion or something. Monks die on my turn. They're going to take a step to the nearest minion on his turn. And, like, yeah, we're just kind of waiting for this to happen. He is in a much worse position than he was in the first game. There's no Grandmaster Wizards involved in this. So that is something that we have going for us. And then he gets a windmill. So, you know, he's at 3 air. 4 air? 1, 2. He's at 3 air. So he can cast Browse. He has a Raise Dead. So he's getting the monks. He's got this wizard. He decides to attack my haunt, probably to recast it. Right, yeah, and then, yeah, he's keeping minions out of the cemetery because he doesn't have the mechanism. So, like, that's what we have going for us. There's no mechanism in play, and there's no Grandmaster Wizards in play. And now he is casting. He's got 4 mana. He just spent 4 here. What's he doing? Oh, from the Raise Dead, right? He spent 4 because he cast Raise Dead this turn. And he's got 6 left, so maybe he has a Grandmaster Wizard. He's got a Grandmaster Wizard. So he'll play it over there. He's going to draw 3. That should be all of his mana for the turn. So the monks will die on my turn. My turn is skipped. I don't have an Angel's Egg this time. And now I guess we rolled to see which direction the Crave Golem goes, but I don't think it's like, I think he just gets to choose, kind of like with Giant Shark, when there's like multiple different paths it can take. But regardless, it doesn't make much difference because he can always just like summon the monks like on the Crave Golem. He's going to cast Land Surveyor. That's 2 mana. He's going to move the Crave Golem. He's going to Moon Clan Werewolf the Grandmaster Wizard to sack it. And then he can recast it to draw 3 spells. He's untapped, so he can play a site. Moon Clan Werewolf was free. He still only spent 2. Okay, he marked it as 9 because of the stone, but he should be at like 7 after playing the stone. And then this would be, I think there were some mistakes here on the opponent's part with mana. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I do believe he played that Land Surveyor this turn. Alright, and then he plays the Apprentice Wizard. So if anything, Land Surveyor and Stone was 3. Raise Dead would be discounted for 3. That's 6. And then the Apprentice Wizard here would be 3. Not discounted because he's already cast an air spell. So he should be at like 1 mana? Or 2? And then he casts a Highland Falconer to get some bats. And so we kind of got like the goon squad up on this windmill. Like this is going to be how he is coming in to attack me. Notably, this steed can defend from like any site he attacks. And that's the only thing I'm thinking right now is like, dude, I got this steed, dude. It's going to come in and like, you know, block out of nowhere. And he's going to be like, oh, man, that messed up my damage count. Yeah, I don't think he should be able to play that browse right now. Unless I like miswatched this, I do believe Land Surveyor was cast this turn. Regardless. Yeah, I'm just thinking about Phantom Steed. And I'm like, dude, Phantom Steed is a horse. And he goes fast, and he's gonna block this werewolf. Or if he plays Nimbus Djinn and tries to attack me, like Phantom Steed is there. I'm not gonna try to get like a value block on like a wizard or a falconer or anything like that, because then he'll just like kill it with something else. I just want to block the most one time, and that's what I'm gonna try to do. Got these illusionists. Again, I've got this evil presence on top of him. I've got this Nimbus Djinn in hand. Just like, just give me an action. Alright, he's gonna untap. I didn't even see the monks die, but I'm sure they did. He is okay. So Crave Golem is over there, cause like what, they took a step or something. Yeah, they take a step towards the nearest minion, so he moved over there. Now he's attacking my sites, and I don't know if he's forgetting the frogs or if he's just like kind of being nice about it. But he could choose to attack them with these 1-power minions, because if he doesn't, I'm totally gonna block the 3-power minion and just save the most life. The Falconer and the Bats are glued together, so they attack as a team, I suppose. I'm taking it all. That werewolf is coming, and the frog is gonna do that for me. I save 3. And then he plays the other monk from his hand. Now, it's worth noting here, how many... He's cast like 2 Raised Deads. And now this is the second monk in his hand. So there should only be like 1 more Raised Dead, I believe. Again, I haven't really been paying attention in this video. Like, I'm pretty sure he's cast 2 Raised Deads. This should be like his 4th extra turn right now. There can only be 1 more Raised Dead in the deck. And I suppose a Boneyard in the Atlas. So we'll see if he's able to get all of that. But right now, he's done his attacks, and I am at 15. He plays a Crave Golem, looking to just deal more damage. And then there's the Nimbus Djinn. He's playing it on the windmill. He's not like playing Summoning Sphere. He's not doing any of that. He's just doing the good old-fashioned play the Nimbus Djinn and come at you. So it's my turn, and now he's got 2 Crave Golems. So he wants the one on the left to resolve last, obviously, because then the one on the right fizzles. So the one on the right goes, and he's like, I'm gonna attack you. I'm like, I'll double block, because I don't want to just bleed out like this. So, like, I'm gonna lose an illusionist anyways. I am like just more than happy to like put 2 at it and block it. It's not like I'm doing anything else. And then I'm like, I think they both die, but then Crave Golem only has 3 power, so one actually lives, and I guess that's nice. It actually will matter that one of them lives. And then I'm like, oh yeah, he's tapped because I had to move to defend. And then he's like, no, because it can just be, you can just have it so that the one I attacked lives. But I'm also pretty sure attackers choose how damage is distributed, so he would get to choose which one lives, not me. If that's how it is. I'm pretty sure it is, but, you know, I don't know everything. Crave Golem, yeah, so he has no monks. And Crave Golem. Oh, well, actually, no. Crave Golem cannot attack Nimbus Djinn because it's airborne. So it just moves there. And now the Moon Clan Werewolf is coming in. I'm going to block that with my Frog. And we've got 1 damage. We've got the Falconer coming in for 2. The Bats are going to make it 4. The Bats are coming right for me. And then the Nimbus Djinn is going to make it 4 more. And then I'm like, no. That was my horse impression. That was my Phantom Steed. He came in. He blocked that 4 damage. He discards Divine Healing to kill his own Land Surveyor. Presumably, he wants to play it from the cemetery. Probably looking for Boneyard, right? And I mean, he can play a Sight this turn. I'm at 10. He probably puts me to door on the next turn. He plays Grandmaster Wizard from his hand. So that's going to be 5 mana. I believe at this point he is out of turns. I don't think he has the last raise step. Maybe he did use 3. I forget, dude. This is such like a funky time. So he's just he's placing units on himself just to survive, because like truthfully he does have he has a lot of pressure on me. He attacks me with the Crave Golem, but like, yeah, he has a lot. Like, if he gets 1 more turn, I go to Death's Door for sure. Nothing's stopping that. So just playing minions on himself and keeping himself as protected as he can is probably the best move in this type of situation. And then he's gonna Werewolf. I don't even know if he sacked something or if he spent mana just to have another body. Looks like he just went to have another body. And I'm like, oh my god, wait, I have a turn? And I draw a Sight for turn because like we're getting to 6 mana. We got that Evil Presence right there. I forgot. We got to roll the Headless Haunt. That kind of matters. He's going to 15. It kind of a nothing spot, but it doesn't matter, dude. He's got like 4 bodies on himself, dude. Also, Crave Golem gets to attack. I got his Werewolf, which was actually that was the high roll for me because they both trade. But like, enough about that because I've had enough of this. And I got 6 mana. I got an Evil Presence on top of him. We're going Nimbus Djinn. Evil Presence goes back. We're going to drop 3. I'm not rolling anything because I'll just kill the minions. And then Nimbus Djinn attacks, kills the last one, and then the Illusionist finishes the game. And like, we did it. GG opponent.